Hey, everybody, can you hear me okay? I hope so. This is Brad Linder coming back at you again with the Daily Cart Show, and I'm gonna cover the Fighting American today in honor of Memorial Day, and just thought it would be a cool, different twist. This is an 11 by 17 piece. I'm gonna put the logo across the top and flesh this thing out. But for now, though, I'm just going to kind of hang out and draw on this thing. And I know it's been a while. It turned out that I had some family issues that I had to handle. I had a passing of a relative, and there were some things going on, and I had to help out with that. So uh, I'm just going to step back into this, and we're going to get this going so we can do this. I wanted to lay this piece out uh, yesterday, to be exact. But like I said, there were some things going on that I just had to help out with, and we wanted to take some time for that. So, um, but it's good to be back on and getting this thing out and going from there. So, hope you guys had a cool Memorial Day weekend and everybody was safe and happy and all that, and nobody got in trouble, because the old drink will get you on and put you away for the weekend. So I'm not one for that, but hey, to each their own. I don't begrudge anybody having, um, party time and whatnot, but it's a personal choice. But hey, man, whatever works. No judgment here. So at least on that, right? So, but yeah. Hey, Rudy, glad you made it, man. Jackie, Demian. Yeah, I got, like I said, I got sidetracked with this thing and was gonna knock it out yesterday, but I had to finish up on some personal stuff, so got that going on and got that squashed. This is a big one for me. This is a big 11 by 17 again, so I'm having a blast doing it. And I just kind of wanted to knock it out just a little bit. And he's got the big eagle head here on his noggin. I'm going to kind of paste this out so we can hang for a few minutes, and it's going to be kind of raw at first because I didn't sketch it in, other than the blue line, which I don't normally do for this, but I got asked recently to do something a little more comic-like and a little more finished. So I thought, what the heck, I'll do this one because I love this character. To me, this is what Captain America should have been, and that's what pretty much what Jack Kirby and Joe Simon put it together with it. And they wanted to have something that would contradict Marvel's incarnation because they went the separate direction of what these guys wanted to go with it, with their original creation. And when Marvel took over Captain America, they decided to create a parody, basically, to show exactly what could be done, and took it to a different publisher. So, but Jack worked all over the place, so so did Joe. That's one of the things that they were always prideful of, is that he could go to pretty much any studio and work, because he had done so much freelance since the 30s. You know, Jack had done so much work in freelance comics. It was crazy. He just put out so much material. Some of my favorite stuff that I still have on the sideline is a book of mobster stuff. They call it the crime era, and it's books from 30s and the 40s where he put it all together, and it was comic book serials that they put into anthologies and things like that. And it was really cool to see all that come together. But yep. The Kirby. Yeah, he was nuts, man. He was a machine and a half. And anyway, kind of knocking this out pretty quick. Just kind of hanging out and getting my groove back for this thing. And getting a bunch of material done. Got a bunch of stuff coming out. The sketchbook's finally ready. I got proofs on it a while back, but now I finally got the orders in. And the two books that it's going to represent as rewards for are finished. So we can go there. So I'm happy with that. It took forever. And like I said, this personal time off I had to take from doing this. I've been around, but you know, there was a couple of things going on. Like I said, I'm not going to go into that because it's family biz, but yeah, there were a couple of things going on that I had to help out with, and we moved on from that and got everything squashed and whatever. But as far as comics go, I just want to let you guys know I have been working on the Relapse book, the Night of the Living Dead, and I haven't turned it on yet just because, like I said, I wanted to wait till the first of the month to do that, but got it all squared away and got everything looking really good, and I'm ready to do that as the next thing here. So you guys will get a good shot of that coming out. And let me see. That's coming up with the revamp of the website finally. I like making this a little bit older. I like making the character a little bit older in this version because of the fact that he's a little more mature. And I gave him kind of a Stallone thing going on with the mouth. I had a little bit too much of the Liefeld thing because that's the most modern incarnation except for Titan, the Titan comics. Hey Jim, glad you made it, man. But you know, that was the latest incarnation. And I didn't want to go Liefeld style. I wanted to go classic with the Kirby look. And it's not his style. It definitely is my rendition. But I love this character. So I wanted to do it justice. And when I laid it out the original first 3 times, I scrapped it instantly. I was just like, I can't do it. Oh my gosh, I can't do it. And it turned out that what I was doing was I was trying to draw from a modern perspective, and I just had to step back a little bit and let it work its magic, you know, let it just come out. And I started sketching, and this is what I came up with. So I was like, hey, cool, this works. But, you know, a lot of times you'll see artists get tied up in this stuff, and they'll forget that sometimes you just have to let it run its course. So I get that a lot. Excuse me. And I'm being chimed here, and I want to see what's going on. I want to make sure that everything is running smooth, so let me duplicate this and see. Okay, cool. All right. I had someone do a mic check for me to make sure everything was working. It was working. But, yeah, I really dig this one, and I wanted to make sure that it did it, like I said, justice, because something that I did with the card series originally that didn't work quite as well as I wanted it to is I wanted it to be clean and sketchy and fast, but people were saying that they wanted more quality work from me for the comic stuff. So I was like, okay, cool, not a problem. So that's when I started pushing this a little bit more and doing bigger pieces like I did with the Venom, the last piece of the sketchbook. And now I am working on this bad boy. So we can get this going. I'm going to make him look right at it. Cut in that little shine right there. Put that on both sides. Cut in that little pupil. The pupil. You got to be careful with that because you make them look cross-eyed real quick. And if you ever noticed that, a lot of people make comic characters like this look cross-eyed, and they'll make them look. It's like he's couch-eyed. Quit it. I'm just going to kind of thicken this line up a little bit because I'm going to be inking this and cleaning it later. Right now, I'm keeping it light and sketchy and just moving this along. So now I'm going to draw in the back of this hood here, which comes down underneath here and then disappears in a little gap. But this angle, you won't see it that way. And then I'll draw in this other collarbone here. and lead it up into the shoulder like that. And that's what this is over here. You always want to put a little bit of an edge on them and raise them up just a little towards the points. And the reason is because it gives it that curvature of the bone and gives that muscular structure a little tighter groove to sit into whenever you start refining it. I always like to do that just a little bit, because then when you come in with the shoulder and the pec, it looks a little more organic because it forces that curve, so it doesn't look as harsh. And I am drawing the uniform in here over the top of this. It is going to be hard, so by that I mean it's going to be a hard line. It's not going to be, you know, clean like everybody likes to do. Now everybody likes to do the spandex where they don't have the musculature showing, and I don't agree with that. I still like the heroes to be, you know, the musculature to show and all that good stuff. I don't like it to be more suit than hero, but you never know. This one is fairly clean though, so I have to give credit there because I did work very hard to keep it clean, but it was for the primary outline of the finished polished look, so that was the reason why. Because I wanted to do something a little different. This is going to be the forearm here. I'm trying to keep everything in sync here so we can stay with that. Grab that fold. Get the fold of the arm. Now I wanted this to have a clean look rather than more of my sketchy stuff. I wanted it to be a little bit tighter on the old pencils and show it for you guys a little better. He's coming along all right. I got to put in that weird little detail right here because it goes right off the temple right here, which would be down round in here. So we go up from the temple on the part of the skull there and catch in that little bit of a groove that goes across, and it comes around right here, same point, boom, done. Headgear is in place. Now we can start doing some more refinement on him, but I'm going to go ahead and work on this face a little bit. I think that way I can do some of the more finished look. I'm bouncing around here because I didn't plan it out as to what I was going to do. I just put out the drawing and didn't know how far I wanted to take it and all that. I'm going to tighten all this up a little bit and give it some more detail. There we go. Cool. Because this costume is not the best version of the costume, but it is what the guys did originally for the costume. So I wanted to give that respect. And just by adding these little lines, it makes it look like it separates from his flesh just a little more. Just to give it a little bit of a raised look for the fabric. And put like eye seams in there, that kind of thing. Just a little. It makes a lot of shift to it and takes away from the flesh look. So it still looks like it's spandex and it's over him, but it doesn't look so controlling to where it's out of whack, you know. So that's what we wanted to do from there. I'm going to shade this side of the mouth a little bit. And then right on this mandible here, I'm going to put that, pop that little line in. And I like to put this one, you guys know what I like to do with this. I like to put in that line for the mandible muscle. But since it's right here underneath the line, what I'm going to do is I'm popping a shadow right there underneath that edge. So it sticks out just a little bit, but doesn't overtake it. So Then I'll thicken this up a little bit to show around the line here. There we go. Put some weight on it. And since I'm going to be inking this, I'm going to be putting in a lot more detail at that point. And he also sticks out his ear on this one. That's something that's always bothered me about this character, is he has his ear bare. So, you know, it's like, why put on a mask if you're just going to have an ear bare that you can get popped? You know, you get it boxed and you're in trouble. But that's the way it goes. And now I'm going to come in here and put in this big muscle right across that goes right behind the jaw there, and curve that down into this mask. I was going to try and keep it really clean with that detail, because I didn't want to go super organic with it and, you know, have to draw all the photographic realism and all that, because I don't like to do that. When you add in all the anatomy like that, it tends to flake out a lot, and I don't want to do photorealism because it's just not my thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the seam right down here for the hood, and then right here we'll put in an edge of the throat muscles and leave that there because it wraps down around. So we want it to cover up like that. And then we've got the chest coming in here. Ta-da. Yay. Look, Mommy, he's got a chest. Sorry. It's in one of those days, So I like doing this with the short. At this angle, I make the traps, trapezius muscles. I make those a little shorter. And the reason I do that is because of the fact that it gives the compression that he's tense and tight and they're balled up. And, you know, even though they're not in quite as proportionate as they should be with this angle, they're going to look like little grapefruits or baseballs, you know, softballs on the side of his head at this particular angle. A lot of people like to overextend those, and then they look funny, because then it makes, instead of it looking like the guy is athletic and lean, it makes him look like he's like hulking, and this character is not like that. He's very lean. He's muscular, but he's not super built. He's about half the size of the normal hero type, where you're going to have, you know, the big muscles and whatnot sticking out. He's more of an athletic fit type of character rather than the hardcore supersized. You know, they keep him very lean, and that's the way Kirby wanted him. Was they wanted him to be athletic, because he's not, even though he's a superhero, he's not super powered. So not in the same way as a super serum or something like that. You know, he's just a dude in a costume. He's the American Captain American version of Batman. You know, that would be the easiest way to describe him. So, but he's government funded, of course. So he has about a fifth of the budget. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Right? If you guys can't see this, Jim had said he wanted a leaner Superman, a superhero body. So, yeah, get that athletic thing going on, man. Lots of cardio. Lots of cardio. Okay. I'm just adding in these little tendon buffers. I'm not going to put in the whole thing, but I'm just going to imply it here. I don't want to go draw all those things on, because we still got to do the stripes and stuff, and I don't want that to mess that up too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop in a little bit of a edge for the back muscles there, and divide for that trapezie on that side there. Then I'll come along in here and add that as well. And I'm going to make that mask a hard seam, so that's not going to show quite as much. And then I'll put in the top shadow of this trapezie, so it's got that angle to it that we all recognize. And like I said, I wanted to keep this one very clean, and this is a lot more like my finished comic work. I like to keep it clean and then go back in and put in all the little details and whatnot. But shadow out this lip a little bit. Now you gotta be careful with the gristle under the nose right there, that ridge, because then you end up making him look like a Thundercat type of thing, where you have that extended black spot underneath, you know, and it'll make him look too much like an animal. So be careful that you put in that ridge softly, because if you don't, you will overwork it and make it look strange. I like to put in a little detail now and again, like this right here. Kind of flex him up a little bit. I've been working with more of these clean line type of details, where I put in, you know, fabric details and things like that, and rendered out a little more. But I'm trying to stay away from getting too wrapped up in the shadowing and stuff, because like I said, that tends to get photorealistic real quick by the detail that you put in, and you got to be careful with that stuff. You'll over render, and one line too many, man, you're just all over the place and you'll tear it up. And by that I mean you'll overwork it. You'll just instantly be a mess, and it will get real quick on you. It'll get in there real quick. And I see people do that all the time. And they're like, I don't want to over render. It's like, too late. I've done that a couple of times. I do that frequently. But I really like this character because of the fact that he's got so much going on in so little a prime detail of the suit itself, you know. Because he's got the design of the suit, and that's about it. And if you don't glam that up, it's just, there he is, man. Ta-da! So want to add that edge to that. And, you know, this being, like I said, a sketch kind of thing, I'm just kind of fumbling around with it a little bit. But I'm going to cut in some of these fingers now. Make sure I'm still on camera. Make sure I'm going to cut this in. And if you don't know who, by the way, if you don't know who the Fighting American is, you can do a search for him. He's by Jack Kirby and Joe Simon, and was created in 1954, right around the same time that Timely took over the comic books. I'm going to grab a piece of notebook paper here. Took over the Timely comics for, Timely took over the comics of Captain America. And they wanted to do something different when they decided to go a different direction than what Cap was supposed to be. So, let's see. We've got this big knuckle coming in here. I'm going to go ahead and draw the back of this hand, because if I don't, I'm going to mess these knuckles up. Need to get that alignment going. Come on, curve out. There we go. Because of the style of his gloves at the time, I'm going to kind of squiggle this in a little bit and build out that side for his fingers and his knuckles. We'll turn this up so we can do it this way. Because he's got the big canvas gloves. So I'm going to draw in here, draw in here like that, come in from this side. And like I said, I want him to have that actual divide there. Even though they're going to be bright red, I'm still going to give them that shadow divide because I want them to have that hard canvas look. Okay. I know that doesn't look like much now, but it will. Kind of pop it in. There we go. And we're going to put the pinky down there. Notice I dropped the pinky a little bit so that we get a little bit more of a curvature and a natural grip in the fist. And the reason I did that is because, like I said, I wanted it to look a little more stiff, like it's a canvas glove rather than his fist. Because they don't really look as smooth as a hand would. And by adding these thick lines, I can go back and cut in these seams here and make it look that way when I color it. And it'll make it look a little more like a glove, which Captain America used to have as well. But we don't have that. We don't have that luxury anymore because everybody wants to do the isotoner style with the seams and the big, the big round whatever on them. And a lot of people miss that. But now I'm going to draw in this star crest here. So I'm going to be rotating this because I don't want my hands all over the page here. And I want it to look semi-correct. It's not going to be perfect in this angle, but I want it to at least look the part here a little bit. He's got a big circle here with the star in it, and he's got these wing shapes coming off for the stripes, which come up here, boom, then they roll across the shoulder like this, and they also taper across this piece like this. And then on the other side, they do the same thing. They come up with this crest wing right about here. They go up to the collar, and then they go across the shoulder. And like I said, they go across like that, and then they put that little taper down there. Now, the reason I'm going to do this side first is because I want to get this top area done, and then we'll come back and do the rest of this at a later time. But right now, I just wanted to get these wing bits in first because they go straight across. Okay, and then they gap back up, boom, across here like that, and then there's that little tidbit right there. Now the reason they cut back like that across the chest is because down across the middle here, he's got this belt of stripes that come down through the midsection. They come off right here and connect in front of the belt. And he's got 5 stripes across here, 5 stripes across here in the modern version. The original, he only had a few. Depends on who draws him. But when Kirby did him, he had 5 stripes. So that's kind of what we're going for here. So I just wanted to let you guys know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on this pec here. And these won't be exact. I'm just going to kind of measure them out here. So I want to get them as close as possible. Because this is the way they're going to go. Curve that one up a little bit and out. and then back around like that. This is kind of funky because it's kind of like drawing Venom in the way that his he had that legged ripple effect kind of thing going on. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5 right here. 4 and 5. And because of this angle, we're going to lay that out just a little bit so it looks a little thinner, but it will open back up as we go around like that. So that's just the angle of where he's standing. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. And it'll be a little bit smaller because we see less of it. Boom. So if you can't see that right now, just bear with me. And then we're going to go back in here and finish this up. So it's coming, it's coming. Okay. Got that going on. And now, because of the way this is, I'm going to cut this one real low. And then we won't be able to see the other one because it'll be right there. So I'll cut that right here. And then that'll go down underneath. The fifth one will be over there. So what I will do is I'll cut in just a little bit of that so it goes around. Now, I'm digging it. Hope you guys are too. So we're going to work on this star really quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in this circle. I've got people I know that I'm freehanding this and they're freaking out right now. You're freehanding a circle. Shame on you. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and sketch in this line here. Okay. And yep. Put our feet for the star right there and right there. So now I can kind of do the application here. Worst star ever. No, that's okay. Because you got to remember that point rolls down a little bit. So go with the pectoral muscle. And that one goes off this way. And I want to thicken this up just a little bit because I don't want it to be an exact star, because the Kirby style goes off really blunt. And I want it to be open. So I'm going to go ahead and curve that out a little bit. Now we've got that going on, and I'll hard line it because I don't want it to match up perfectly. I want it to be a good solid star, but I don't want it to be to the point to where it points and it goes off and, you know, it doesn't show the curvature. Because at this angle, we would not be able to see all of that. So there we go. Straighten that up a little bit. There we go. Cool. Now, I've got him going on. I've got the peak a little higher than I wanted, but that's okay. And I've got the face in. I think we can detail some of this out now, just a little bit anyway, and go from there. I wanted to add a couple of little things like these micro grooves just to expand on the costume a little bit, like that. And what I'm doing is I'm going in from the underside of these ribs and putting just a little bit of detail on them. And by doing that, that's going to pop out the suit just a little bit. And it'll pop it out even better when I run smooth over it, because this paper is really rough. And I am wobbling through the ridges of the paper. Not good. But it's because it's regular 11 by 17 70 pound. It's not my normal cardstock, so. But it's fun nonetheless. I like putting this piping on because when I do this, like I said, it just makes it pop out for some reason and adds an extra edge or element to it that you normally wouldn't get, and it allows a 3D effect that also doesn't exist there. So popping that piping for the seams. And it adds that raised effect, like this mask has that raised effect to it. I'll put in just a little bit around right here, and by adding that on, we'll get to see some more of that. As a side note, I'll just kind of add that on there to make it a little bit thicker, and I'll shade that a little bit and then go across, and then right in here I'll shade that with a little bit of ribbing there, and it makes it, like I said, it just adds a little more of an effect to it, a little more 3D effect, so that we have that going on for the the seam of the look of the mask. And right behind here on the ear there, I'll put a little bit of a seam for like the pocket for the ear, so it kind of pops his ear through it, and that'll help that as well. So just little tweaks like that give it a lot more of an edge that in a lot of cases you won't have. So just raising it up, raising the bar a little bit. So you have that. Now I'm gonna do that on this side as well, and then I'm gonna start drawing this thing down some. I'm gonna start adding a few little tweaks here and there, kind of like this, and moving forward with some of the other work. But I just wanted to share this with you guys and show what's going on for starting it and popping back on, because I know I haven't been on in like a week and a half, and the reason why is because, like I said, I've been doing some other stuff and getting work out to go live and as product, and then pushing through for the family situation, like I said, which I will not go into because that was a close family member passed away. That's all I want to say about it, because I agree with my family. I don't want to put a lot of that out. I mean, I wasn't skipping out on you guys or anything. I just had to handle some personal stuff. But yeah. And we have that going on with this seam here. Kind of buckle that down a little bit. Now, this is going to be the traditional red going all the way around. That's going to be the gold on top. He's got the blue suit here, the red, white, and blue throughout. The gold gauntlets right before the gloves. I gave him the gauntlets, and then the traditional red gloves. So it'll be fine as far as it's going to move on. But like I said, I'm just still getting back in the groove with you guys, getting back in the groove. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put in this little glove seam here for this thumb and for the seam of the glove. And like I said, I'm not going to put in that whole big, the big ridges we would normally see from the gloves showing his knuckle ribs and all that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep this very open, glove style, canvas glove style from like the, you know, the time that he was created in the 50s with the hard leathers, and keeping that a little more traditional as far as that goes. But I want to put in they're more or less welder's seams, because that's the way they used to do the gloves. They would sew the knuckles so that they had room depending on the size. They sewed the finger links on at different sets to make, they used the same base for like a man's glove and a woman's glove, but then they would sew on the fingers at different levels so that you could either have them open, or you could have them closed, or you could have a different thickness for touch if they were welding, or if they were machinist gloves, they were typical leather and they were different sizes and that kind of thing. And that's what they did with these. That's the reason they're designed that way. So if you look at the old they did the old canvas gloves they used in World War I and II, same style. So that was the reason for that. I always found that interesting when they come up with these little details and construction outlets to show what stuff was made with and how and whatever, you know. It's always really cool to see. But anyway, I'm going to go in here and just kind of detail this out just a little bit to show the rigidness of the mask, but I don't want to go overkill like that, because I want to keep it clean and simple like this. And I just really dig the way this vibe is coming out, because it's not color dependent, but it's just enough detail to do what it needs to do for the penciling without doing so much of being completely wide open to where it's completely color dependent, because I hate that. But I'm trying to get a little more detail into things and liven them back up and add that in through the penciling, so that we have that going on and we get a little more dynamic and depth to it. Because I got away from that, where I didn't do that in Relapse. I definitely have the detail there, but I got away from it in some of the other stuff that I used to do, and it's just, I want to get back to that more detailed, fitted style without going overkill and going to where we block it out and black it out. You know, there's a fine line between both scales, and I want to make sure that it fits. So that's a big triumph on my artwork, is to get that going on where we can see that. Adding a little bit of a ridge on here. A little bit of a lip. And the reason I'm doing that is to kind of pop that up too, but without working it to death. Cool deal. Now, put in just a little bit of a whisker type situation where he's got a little hair growing on. Kirby always liked to keep him clean shaven, because he believed in, you know, he was a military guy and he believed in being just as clean and pristine as possible. But with it being, you know, let's say he's been in battle for like a week and hadn't had a chance to stop really, other than, you know, maybe get out of the suit, take a break, get a shower, get a bite to eat, and move on, you know, that kind of thing. Not really worried about carrying a razor around, you know, when he can fit in 20 extra bullets. So, and the funny thing is this guy doesn't carry a gun, so whatever. But it is what it is, people. It is what it is, really. Okay, we're gonna make this happen. So we got that going on. I'm gonna put in a little ridge here on that. And I'm gonna go over here and put in a little cut right here at the bottom of this. I don't want to go too crazy with it. Just want to add in a little bit of detailing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in from this side and add in some old school detailing like that. Just simple shade, no big deal. Just to show the underside there. And now I'm going to leave it at this one. We're going to go with this with the next part, because this is a big piece. And we've been on for 40 minutes now, 45 minutes. I definitely don't want it to jump out at us. Hey, Neil, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Raymond, I so appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. I'm going to call this one right now because I don't want to mess it up. Like I said, I want to keep able to detail this out. And I'm going to take it for the next session or two so we have something to really look at when I bring this all together and ink it and go from there. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I just wanted to make this a big comeback here, and to everybody that's lost anybody in this world, happy Memorial Day, and we're right there with you, and know that you have the right to pay homage in this country, especially if you're in the U.S. Pay a quick homage if you didn't this weekend by understanding what Memorial Day is. It's reflection and responsibility of paying respects to the people that have passed and gave the ultimate sacrifice so that we can have the freedoms of being, the loudmouth, fun, partying, pain in the butt people that we are in this nation. So, pay your respects, pay your dues, and know that's what they're doing out there. That's what they've been doing for centuries, and that's what it's about. But anyway, as always, you guys know how this ends. It's a great party here. It's a great roller coaster, and we ride it calling the big sign of life, and we scream it every time we ride up and down a hill. So share the party with the next generation, and make somebody laugh, make somebody smile, make somebody feel good, do something nice for somebody, and I will catch you guys next time. Take care.